Have you ever wondered why some people seem to grow lonelier as the years go by, while others remain surrounded by warmth, love, and connection? It's not just about the wrinkles or the slowing pace of life as we get older. Each of us quietly picks up small habits, those little, sneaky patterns that can slowly push people away, strain relationships, and make life feel heavier than it needs to be. The hardest part? Most of us don't even realize we're falling into these traps until it's too late. But here's the hopeful truth: you can change these habits, and this video will gently guide you through how. We're going to explore those hidden habits no one talks about, the ones that quietly steal your joy, your health, and your closeness with the people you care about. You'll meet Julie, a 71-year-old retired librarian, whose story shows how these habits crept into her life and how she found her way back. Why should you watch until the very end? Because we'll reveal 9 surprising traps that might be quietly affecting you or someone you love right now, along with simple, practical ways to break free. Number 7 might just surprise you. It's the one most people miss until it costs them dearly. By the time we finish, you'll receive a heartfelt challenge, something that could gently shift your life starting today. So stay with us and discover how to spot these habits before they take hold, how to rebuild connections you thought were lost, and how to age with meaning, purpose, and peace instead of regret. If you've ever felt disconnected, stuck, or just curious about what might be holding you back, this is especially for you. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and let's begin, because the longer you wait, the harder it can be to change. If you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so and tap the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Your support truly means a lot. And if this video brings value to your life, you can help me keep sharing these important lessons by liking and sharing it with others. If this topic resonates with you, please leave a 1 in the comments. If not, a 0 will help me know how to create better content for you. Now, let's begin. Number 1. Becoming too negative or critical. Sarah never imagined she'd become the kind of person who held onto negativity. She always thought she was just speaking honestly, sharing her thoughts with those around her. But as the years passed, she began to notice a subtle shift inside herself. It started quietly, a small sigh here, a passing complaint there. At first, it seemed harmless. Just a grumble about the aches and pains that come with age. Yet, slowly, it crept into other parts of her day. She'd watch the news, feeling frustration build with every troubling report. An overwhelming sense of helplessness and anger about the state of the world settled in her heart. When talking with younger relatives, her words turned sharp. "Back in my day, we had more respect," she'd say with a weary eye roll, as if the younger generation were somehow letting her down. At first, Sarah didn't see how this was affecting her relationships. It seemed like just honest opinion, nothing more. But over time, conversations grew shorter, friends began to avoid deep talks, instinctively steering clear of topics they knew would spark yet another rant. Even her grandchildren, once eager to visit, started making excuses to stay away. What Sarah couldn't see then was the slow, quiet drain her negativity was causing. No matter how justified it might feel, no one wants to leave a conversation feeling worse than when they arrived. The truth is, negativity acts like a weight that pulls people down, making them recoil instead of reach out. It's easy to slip into this cycle. Life can feel overwhelming as the world around us changes, especially when things no longer make sense or feel comfortable. Our bodies don't work like they used to. Simple tasks, like shopping, driving, or using a smartphone, suddenly become frustrating. Venting about these things might feel like relief, but when negativity becomes your go-to way of thinking, it acts less like a helpful tool and more like a shield that isolates you from others instead of helping you work through your feelings. So, how do you gently shift that energy? Try beginning your conversations with something positive rather than jumping straight to complaints. Starting with gratitude, like saying, "I woke up feeling good today," or "the sunset last night was beautiful," can become a simple daily habit. Positive energy has a quiet but powerful way of spreading, drawing people in rather than pushing them away. When you do need to let off steam, give yourself a set time, maybe just a few minutes, to express your frustrations, then gently move on to something more constructive. Curiosity holds far more power than criticism. Instead of brushing off the things your grandkids enjoy, whether it's an app or a game, try asking, "Tell me more about that." This simple question opens the door to connection instead of closing it. When Sarah began making these small shifts, leading with positivity, showing genuine interest in her grandkids' lives, and expressing gratitude more often, she noticed something remarkable. Conversations lasted longer, people opened up to her again, and the warmth of connection she had missed for so long slowly returned. What Sarah learned, sometimes the hard way, is that the energy you send out into the world is the energy you get back. If you want connection, you must first give it. It starts with how you speak, how you show up, and the way you choose to see the world. Number 2, ignoring personal hygiene and appearance. There was a time when Sarah loved dressing up. She took pride in her appearance, carefully choosing outfits, applying makeup just so, and making sure her hair was styled perfectly before stepping out. Her closet was full of beautiful clothes, blouses in every color, and she wore a signature scent with quiet confidence. But as the years passed, things began to change. It started with little things, skipping hair appointments or choosing loose, comfortable clothes instead of the stylish outfits she once loved. She found herself asking, "Why bother? I'm not trying to impress anyone anymore." Over time, Sarah stayed in her house clothes all day and rarely looked in the mirror. She told herself it didn't matter, but deep down, something was shifting inside her. It wasn't just about how others saw her, it was about how she saw herself. Sarah began to notice how people treated her differently. Strangers who once complimented her bright outfits now barely made eye contact. Friends who used to invite her out for lunch or a movie started inviting her less often. When Sarah looked at old photos, she barely recognized the vibrant, joyful woman she once was. Where had she gone? What happened to that woman who radiated confidence? The truth Sarah hadn't fully realized was this: how we present ourselves to the world affects not only how others see us, but also how we see ourselves. Personal appearance isn't about vanity, it's about self-respect. It's about honoring who you are, no matter your age. It's about showing up for yourself, feeling comfortable in your own skin, and saying, "I matter." How do you begin to reverse this? Start small. Get dressed, even if you're not going anywhere special. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, just clean, well-fitting clothes that make you feel comfortable and good. Take a shower, brush your hair, trim your nails. These little acts of care send a powerful message to yourself: I am worth this effort. Wearing something you love, something that brings you joy, can lift your spirits. Small touches, a spritz of your favorite perfume, a cherished piece of jewelry, can make all the difference. They remind you of who you are, the woman you've always been, and the woman you're still becoming. When Sarah began paying attention to these simple yet meaningful details, her whole outlook started to change. Sarah began embracing simple habits again, brushing her hair, wearing her favorite blouse, and even putting on a little lipstick. She noticed something magical happening. She started to feel lighter, more confident, and yes, even beautiful once more. People began to smile when she walked into a room. She felt seen, and more importantly, she felt like herself again. It was as if the vibrant woman she thought she had lost was quietly coming back, not just in the eyes of others, but in her own eyes as well. Number 3, becoming stubborn and resistant to change. If you're still watching and finding these lessons helpful, please drop a 1 in the comments to let me know you're here with me. Sarah had always taken pride in knowing exactly what she liked and how she liked it. She was set in her ways, and that comfort had carried her for decades. Why change what's worked so long? But when her children and grandchildren started using text messages instead of phone calls, Sarah resisted. "I don't need to learn all that," she'd say, brushing off their offers to help. "If they want to talk, they can pick up the phone." Slowly, those phone calls became fewer and fewer. Family updates, pictures, and birthday reminders arrived only in group chats she refused to join. At first, she didn't realize it, but she was shutting herself off from the people she loved most. It wasn't just about technology, it was about staying connected, being part of their lives, sharing love. But Sarah's stubbornness began to isolate her. The truth is, change is inevitable. Life moves forward, and it's natural to resist when it feels like the world is leaving you behind. The key is to stay open. It's easy to say, I don't need that, but there's quiet strength in saying, I'll try. Saying yes to change, even in small ways, keeps you engaged and sharp. You don't have to be an expert overnight. Start small. Let your grandchildren show you how to send a text or watch a favorite show with them. Instead of rejecting change, embrace it. You never know what you're missing until you try. When Sarah finally let her granddaughter teach her how to text, she was surprised by how simple it was. What surprised her even more was the flood of connection she'd been missing: daily photos of her great-grandkids, inside jokes, quick check-ins that made her feel like she truly belonged. By letting go of resistance, she gained more than new technology, she gained connection. It wasn't just about learning to text, it was about staying close to the people who mattered most. In doing so, Sarah found a deeper sense of love and belonging in her relationships. Number 4. Hoarding and refusing to let go of clutter. Sarah had always been sentimental. Every item in her home held a story, a memory, a piece of her past. She couldn't bear to part with old birthday cards tucked away for decades, stacks of newspapers she promised to read someday, or clothes she hadn't worn in years but kept just in case. Over time, her once cozy, peaceful home transformed into an overwhelming maze of things, clutter filling every corner, shelf, and room. She couldn't deny it any longer. What had once been a haven had become a battlefield, crowded with items she rarely touched but couldn't bring herself to release. At first, Sarah didn't see it as a problem. She convinced herself every item had value. I might need it someday, she'd say. Holding onto everything felt safe, comforting, even reassuring. But in truth, the clutter was slowly suffocating the life out of her home, her peace, and her spirit. As time passed, she found herself growing more and more exhausted just by the effort of trying to clean and navigate through the piles. It became harder and harder for her to keep her home in order, to find what she needed, and even to invite people over without feeling ashamed of the mess. Her once welcoming space had become a reminder of how trapped she felt, caught in the past and unwilling to let go of what no longer served her. When her daughter gently suggested she consider letting go of a few things, Sarah resisted with every fiber of her being. What if I need them later? She argued. But the truth was, the clutter didn't just fill her home, it filled her mind too. The weight of holding on to so much began to steal her joy, block the present moment, and cloud her peace of mind. It wasn't just about things, it was about the emotional baggage tangled up with them. Letting go is never easy, especially when it feels like a piece of your heart is tied to every object. But here's the honest truth: holding on to too much, whether material possessions or emotional burdens, traps you in the past. It makes moving forward feel impossible and steals the clarity and peace you deserve. Sarah finally realized that to feel truly free again, she had to let go. Breaking free from clutter doesn't happen all at once. It takes patience, kindness toward yourself, and the courage to face the truth that you don't need everything you've been holding on to. How do you start? Begin small. Tackle one drawer, one shelf, or one box at a time. The idea of decluttering everything all at once can feel overwhelming, but breaking it down into manageable pieces makes it easier. Ask yourself, do I use this? Does it bring me joy? If the answer is no, it's time to say goodbye. Donate what someone else can use, recycle what's no longer useful, or pass on meaningful items to family members who will cherish them. Make decluttering a gentle habit, a simple daily practice. Set a small goal, like letting go of one item each day. These small, consistent actions can lead to profound change over time. And let's not forget the practical side. Clutter isn't just mentally stressful, it can be dangerous. It increases the risk of falls, accidents, and injuries. Your home isn't just where you live, it should be a place where you feel safe, calm, and at peace. When Sarah finally took the plunge and began to declutter, something magical happened. The weight lifted from her shoulders, and the transformation wasn't only physical. She donated clothes she hadn't worn in years, recycled dusty magazines, and organized her space so she could easily find the things that truly mattered. For the first time in years, Sarah felt a sense of peace in her home. It wasn't just cleaner, it was lighter, brighter, and more welcoming. She felt a new kind of freedom, the freedom that comes from releasing the past and embracing the present. And most importantly, she found herself excited to invite friends over again, something she hadn't felt in a very long time. Number 5. Losing patience with others too quickly. Sarah never thought of herself as an impatient person. She always tried to be kind, understanding, and forgiving. But as time went on, she noticed small cracks in her patience, tiny moments when irritation flared up, and she lost her composure. One afternoon, while standing in line at the grocery store with a cart full of items, the young cashier was taking his time, fumbling with the bags. Sarah felt frustration rising. Why is he so slow? Can't he move faster? She thought, her temper heating up. Before she could stop herself, the words slipped out, "Come on, can you hurry up?" The moment she spoke, she saw the cashier's face fall. He looked, lowering his hands, trembling slightly as he tried to finish his task. That's when it hit her, this young man was new, nervous, and doing his very best. And here she was, snapping at him as if he were the cause of her stress. A sharp pang of guilt washed over her. Was she becoming the very person she used to dislike? The one quick to judge, quick to snap, and slow to show grace. This realization was hard to swallow. As we grow older, it's easy to lose patience with others. Life moves at a different pace, and it's frustrating when the world around us doesn't keep up with how fast we want it to go. But the truth is, impatience doesn't just make life harder for others, it makes it harder for us too. It raises our stress, clouds our judgment, and poisons the way we interact with those around us. So, how do we learn to stay patient and kind, especially when life feels like it's moving too slowly? The first step is simple: pause before reacting. When irritation creeps in, take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is this worth getting upset over? Remember, that slow driver might be someone's grandfather, and the cashier fumbling with bags could be a student trying their hardest. A little patience goes a long way. The next time frustration bubbles up, try shifting your perspective. Instead of snapping, offer a smile, a kind word, or a gentle "take your time." When Sarah saw the same young cashier again, she smiled, complimented his efforts, and told him he was doing a great job. His face lit up. In that moment, Sarah realized just how powerful kindness can be. It doesn't take much to brighten someone's day or ease their burden. Patience isn't just a gift we give to others, it's a gift to ourselves. Choosing patience over frustration leads to less stress, better interactions, and a more peaceful heart. Number 6. Overtalking and not listening. Sarah had always loved to talk. She had a treasure trove of stories, advice, and memories she loved to share. Over the years, she became known as the family storyteller. But there was a problem she hadn't noticed: she often dominated conversations. One day, her daughter, who had been calling less and less, finally opened up. "Mom, I love talking to you, but sometimes I don't feel heard," she confessed. "It feels like our calls are all about you, and I never get to share what's on my mind." Sarah was stunned. How had she not seen it? She realized that every time they spoke, she would jump in with her own experiences, stories, and advice, without pausing to really listen. The truth was, Sarah had become so focused on sharing her wisdom that she forgot to give her daughter the space to speak and be heard. She had been talking, but not truly listening. As we age, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking we have all the answers. We want to share our life lessons, pass on the wisdom we've gathered. But if we don't take the time to listen, to really hear the people we love, we risk pushing them away. Sarah had to face the reality that in her desire to share, she had unintentionally isolated herself from the people who mattered most. The key to better conversations is balance. Don't just talk, listen. If you've been speaking for a while, pause and ask, "What about you? How have things been for you?" Make a conscious effort to show genuine interest in what the other person is saying. Resist the urge to interrupt, even if you have a great story to tell. Give the other person room to speak. Ask open-ended questions that invite real conversation. Instead of the usual "how are you?" try, "what's something exciting that happened this week?" The next time Sarah talked to her daughter, she made a conscious effort to listen. She asked more questions, gave her daughter the floor, and only offered advice when it was truly needed. The results were remarkable. Their conversations grew longer, warmer, and more meaningful. Sarah learned that the best conversations aren't about talking more, they're about listening better. And in that simple act of truly listening, Sarah rediscovered the beauty of real connection. Number 7. Pushing people away instead of asking for help. If you're still here with me and finding these lessons helpful, please drop a comment below to let me know. Sarah had always taken pride in being fiercely independent. It was part of who she was, a way of life. For decades, she had cared for others, raising her children with all the love she had, managing a busy household with grace, and lending a helping hand to neighbors in need. It felt good to be needed, to be the one people turned to. But as the years passed, things began to change. Simple tasks that once felt easy turned into daunting challenges. One afternoon, Sarah struggled to lift a heavy grocery bag from her car. Her arms trembled under the weight. A young man walking by noticed and kindly offered, "Need a hand with that?" Prideful, Sarah forced a smile and shook her head. "No, thank you. I've got it." But she didn't. As she dragged the heavy bag inside, an ache in her back worsened, and frustration and loneliness washed over her. Each step felt heavier, not just physically, but emotionally. She had pushed away someone who simply wanted to help, someone who saw her struggle and wanted to ease it. And in that moment, Sarah felt more alone than ever. Later that night, in the quiet of her home, a painful truth settled over her. Refusing help wasn't making her stronger. No, it was pulling her away from the very connections that once comforted her. She was choosing isolation over connection, independence over interdependence. Why is asking for help a sign of strength, not weakness? Asking for help doesn't make you a burden. It gives others a chance to show love and support. People truly want to help, but if you keep shutting them out, eventually they'll stop offering. Then, you're left not just physically burdened, but emotionally starved. Accepting help builds bridges between hearts. It creates moments of shared humanity that go beyond the task itself, whether it's holding a door, lifting a load, or lending a listening ear. Letting others help makes life easier, physically and emotionally. It's a reminder we're not meant to struggle alone. And when you let others feel useful, you give them a gift. Imagine a life where no one ever needed your help. You'd feel unimportant, unneeded. So why deny others the joy of assisting you? Sarah knew she had to change. The next time someone offered help, she promised herself she'd say yes. When she saw that young man again at the store, she smiled warmly and said, "Actually, I could use a little help today." His face lit up as he grabbed the bag from her hands, and Sarah felt a weight lift, not from her back, but from her heart. In that simple exchange, something shifted deep inside her. She felt seen, valued, and, most importantly, connected. Have you ever struggled to ask for help, or felt the joy of offering it? It's a humbling experience that reminds us we're all in this together. It's okay to let others in. Number 8. Being too frugal to enjoy life. Sarah had always been the picture of financial prudence. A master of budgeting, she clipped coupons with enthusiasm, skipped vacations without a second thought, and hesitated before making any purchase that wasn't absolutely necessary. Though she had a comfortable amount saved, there was always that gnawed quietly at the back of her mind, what if I need this money later? What if something unexpected happens? It was a never-ending cycle of saving, but for what? What was the point of accumulating wealth if she wasn't using it to live the life she dreamed of? One day, Sarah's best friend Emily invited her on a weekend trip to the countryside. "It'll be so much fun," Emily said, her voice full of excitement. "We'll explore, eat good food, and just relax." Sarah's first instinct was to say no. Traveling meant spending money. Restaurants meant spending money. Everything about it made her anxious. What if she regretted spending that money? But deep inside, a small voice whispered, "When was the last time I treated myself?" For years. For too long, Sarah had lived with the mindset of saving for one day. But as she stared at Emily's invitation, she couldn't help but wonder, what if that one day never comes? What am I saving for if I'm not living now? Why does enjoying your money matter? Being financially responsible is important, yes. But life isn't just about stacking up savings, it's about truly living. Experiences like travel, outings, or hobbies bring more lasting joy than any material possession ever could. Studies show that spending on experiences creates memories that linger long after the purchase is forgotten, while objects, gadgets, clothes lose their value over time. Sarah had worked hard her whole life to reach this stage, to build financial security. But security without fulfillment is like an empty vessel. The key to a well-rounded life is balance. Enjoying the fruits of your labor doesn't diminish your achievements, it honors them. So how could Sarah change this habit? She decided to give herself permission to spend, to enjoy life's little pleasures. Whether it was a dinner out, a spontaneous hobby, or a weekend getaway, she vowed to prioritize experiences that nourished her soul. She even set aside a fun fund, an account just for her enjoyment. The next time Emily asked her to join the weekend trip, Sarah hesitated, then said yes. And oh, what a difference it made. She laughed more in those 2 days than she had in months. She felt the sun on her face, tasted the joy of good food with good company, and most importantly, remembered how to live fully. As she watched the sunset with Emily, Sarah realized this was what she had been saving for all along, the moments, the memories, the connection. Money was meant to support her happiness, not just sit untouched in a bank. What experience have you been putting off because of money? Life isn't waiting for you to be ready. The time is now. Number 9. Talking down to younger generations. Sarah adored her grandson Noah. His visits were the highlight of her week. She loved hearing about his school life, his hobbies, and especially his passion for video games. But lately, those visits felt different, more distant, more strained, even awkward. She noticed Noah was less eager to talk, more absorbed in his phone than in their time together. One afternoon, Noah excitedly brought up a new app he had discovered. Without thinking, Sarah sighed and shook her head. Back in my day, we didn't need all this technology. Kids went outside to play, not stare at screens all day. Noah went quiet. A few minutes later, he mumbled, "I should probably get going." The door clicked shut behind him, and Sarah was left alone, a sharp sting of regret hitting her chest. She hadn't meant to push him away. But her words, meant to share wisdom, had only made him feel dismissed and invalidated. In trying to connect, she had unknowingly built a wall between them. Why does talking down to younger generations push them away? It's easy to get stuck in nostalgia for the good old days. But constantly reminding younger people that things were better in the past can make them feel like their experiences and challenges don't matter. Instead of fostering understanding, it creates division. Every generation faces its own unique challenges and battles. Instead of criticizing, we should lift them up, offering support, understanding, and encouragement. So, how did Sarah change this habit? The next time Noah mentioned something new, she took a deep breath and said, "That sounds interesting. Tell me more." Rather than dismissing his world, she chose curiosity. She asked questions that made him feel heard. When Noah explained his game strategy, something beautiful happened. They connected. Not through criticism, but through mutual respect. Their conversation flowed freely, and for the first time in a long while, they shared a moment of genuine connection. What about you? Have you ever struggled to relate to younger generations? What helped bridge the gap? Sometimes, it's not about changing them, it's about understanding them, seeing the world through their eyes, and meeting them where they are. Number 10. Holding on to grudges and regrets. Holding on to grudges and regrets is like carrying a heavy weight that slowly wears you down, bit by bit. It's more than a mental burden, it seeps into every corner of your life, stealing your present joy and clouding your perspective. Have you ever caught yourself remembering a past injustice or betrayal, and suddenly, not only are you reliving the pain, but the world around you seems to dim a little? That's the grip of resentment. The more you clutch those negative memories, the farther you drift from the love and joy around you today. It's painful to admit, but bitterness can quietly erode relationships. It creeps in almost unnoticed, making it harder to connect with those you care about. Without realizing it, resentment grows into a wall dividing you from loved ones. In the worst cases, it turns into anger that hardens your heart, leaving you wondering why you feel so alone, even in a crowd. And don't forget the toll it takes on your health. Grudges and regrets are more than emotional baggage. The stress lingers in your body. Constant tension can raise your blood pressure, disturb your sleep, and weaken your immune system. You might try to ignore it, but deep down, you know it's affecting you. There's no running away from the consequences of holding onto past pain. If you're still watching and finding these lessons useful, please comment 3 below to let me know you're here with me. So how do you let go and find the emotional freedom you deeply deserve? It starts with accepting a harsh truth: the past can't be undone. What's done is done. No matter how many times you replay moments in your mind, they won't change. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" try flipping the question, "What can I learn from this?" Doing so frees you from the past's grip and empowers you to shape a healthier, happier future. Forgiveness is key, not for the person who hurt you, but for yourself. When you forgive, you're not excusing bad behavior, you're releasing its power over you. You're setting yourself free. It's a hard truth, but letting go of grudges isn't weakness, it's courage and strength. It's about reclaiming control of your life, your peace, and your heart. It's not easy to shift your focus, but when you catch yourself slipping into old patterns of resentment, pause and redirect your thoughts to something positive in the present. You might write a letter expressing everything you've been holding inside, then tear it up, burn it, or let it drift away, knowing it's time to release it all. You owe yourself that much. Sarah's story is a testament to this journey. For years. And even helps with memory. The simple act of laughing can bring us closer to those around us, strengthening bonds and nurturing relationships. As we age, laughter becomes a gentle reminder that we can still feel young at heart, a nudge to live with joy and to embrace the simple pleasures life offers. That night, as Sarah left Emily's house, her heart felt lighter. She realized that joy isn't something you just stumble upon, it's something you choose. The next morning, instead of watching the news or letting her usual routine take over, she cranked up her favorite music and danced around her kitchen. That moment of laughter, the choice to invite joy back into her life, marked the beginning of something beautiful. And remember, it's never too late to make that choice for yourself. Don't wait for the perfect moment, create it. Choose joy. As we reflect on the importance of letting go of grudges, prioritizing our health, and choosing joy in our lives, take a moment to think about what resonated most with you today. Maybe it's the power of forgiveness, or how laughter truly is the best medicine for both body and soul. Perhaps it's the simple truth that ignoring health signs can have serious consequences. Whatever it is, pause and consider one lesson you're committed to bringing into your life moving forward. I'd love to hear from you. What's one lesson you're ready to practice? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more valuable content. Your support means the world to us.